So let's talk a little bit about milk choice. What sort of milk should I be choosing? Is one formula better than another? And the overarching answer to this is they're very, very similar. If you are choosing to give your baby some form of formula milk, you want to make sure that it is the pre-prepared milk, so the liquid formula for the first month of life. Prior to that, you cannot be giving your baby the powdered version because their little gut lining is very permeable and open, and it's more likely that they will get sick from that. So the pre-made formula for the first month of life. Oftentimes, as you're leaving the hospital, you can ask for a large canister of these small bottles. You can get like a tray of them before you leave the hospital if you plan on giving a lot of formula. However, after that, if you're waiting the full 6 weeks, like I recommend, you can go ahead and get the powdered formula version. Once we've decided on the type of formula that we're giving, it's really important to remember that you can look at the backs of the labels and there's very few differences between them all. However, some things might be key to note. Without naming any particular brands, some contain pre- and probiotics and others do not. Whether that is something that is for you or against you, I don't know. I personally think that messing with your baby's microbiome and adding in other live ingredients like that can be not always a good thing. And another thing to mention is where the fat source is coming from. Certain formulas will add in fish oils and others will not. It's important to look at how they are preserving their formula. Is it goat's milk? Is it cow's milk? Do you have any sort of allergies in your family that you need to take into account? Have you been encouraged to be on any sort of specific diet as a breastfeeding mama? Is your baby struggling with cow's milk protein allergy, for instance? Do they have any sensitivities or intolerances we need to be aware of? The other thing to note is that we are often marketed these hungry baby formulas or formulas that are going to help your baby stay more satiated or more full or sleep through the night, or these toddler grow-on formulas. Stick with the grade 1 formula. You don't need to be doing anything fancy. You don't need to be upgrading as your baby gets older or as they are seeming to be more hungry. And I think that's really important to note, and making sure that you are making them up as per the can, following the instructions, making sure that you are adding that boiling water, because formula in itself is not a sterile solution. So whether you have chosen to go with bottles or cups or whatever it might be, it is really important that you also sterilize those pieces of equipment really well. Conversely to that, if you are planning on pumping for your baby or you are using donor breast milk is sterile, and so any sort of equipment that is associated with that, whether it is your breast pump parts, your bottles, your tubing, does not need to be sterilized actually, and just warm soapy water is perfectly fine. So that is choice of formula. And then the next thing then we have to think about is the choice of bottle, or how you're going to give this milk. There are alternative ways. So if your baby is not taking from a bottle, they can finger feed, they can use an S&S tubing, they can use a syringe, an open cup, simply an egg cup or a medicine cup or a little shot glass is also perfectly fine. I know with my first baby, he never took a bottle, but he would quite happily drink from a little egg cup while I was gone. And so knowing that there are other options can give a lot of parents a sort of sense of relief. So the freedom that they thought they would be getting from combination feeding and associating that with a bottle and your baby not taking a bottle can cause you to be quite panic stricken. And in knowing that there are alternative methods can really give you a bit of a breather. However, if you plan on your baby taking a bottle and you want them to go quite smoothly backwards and forwards from bottle to breast, it's important to remember a few things. The first thing is how you're going to give that bottle. So if you're going to be doing a paced bottle feeding technique or a responsive bottle feeding technique, it means you're going to replicate how they would be drinking at the breast, which means slowly, taking their time, taking pauses to catch their breath. You don't want your baby totally laid back in your arms with the bottle upside down. You want them to be much more upright, almost at a 90-degree angle. That you can also try side-lying feeding where they are facing forwards, and with the teat of the bottle only ever being half full, so that your baby can control the amount of milk that they are taking in. So slow paced responsive bottle feeding. The type of bottle that you choose then should always be a slow flow teat or a zero flow teat. And this does not need to get faster as your baby gets bigger. You can continue with that slow flow teat for as long as your bottle feeding journey continues. The other thing that's worthwhile bearing in mind is the teat itself that you use in terms of its pliability and its shape. We want a soft teat, so it's either softer silicone or softer latex, that it's easily pliable in baby's mouth, similar to how the nipple would be for baby, but also one that replicates the breast as much as possible. And I don't mean those ones that are really tiny and they've got like a little teat on the top. I mean how the nipple would be in baby's mouth. So one that has a graduated, slow taper, similar to the even flow balance or the Lancino breast bottles. They're my two favorites, and they are the ones that are most likely to be similar to how the breast is in baby's mouth. So that is how you choose your bottle, your teat, and then the way that you want to be giving those bottles as well is so important. If you plan on combination feeding your baby and you have more questions, please do let me know. Touch base with me either over on Instagram or send me an email, and I would be delighted to help you find your way, because it can be a bit of a tricky one to muddle through because there's not much information out there. But I'm really confident in you need to do what's right for you and your family, and if this means that you can move forward with confidence and feeling supported, I'm right here for you.